Hi, welcome to day 9 of our devotional studies on the life of Jesus as seen in the book of Luke. We're in Luke 6 and we're going to start reading. In fact, today's passage is just Luke 6 verses 1 to 19. It says, one Sabbath, Jesus was going through the cornfields and his disciples began to pick some ears of corn, rub them in their hands and eat the grain. Some of the Pharisees asked, "Why are you doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath?" Jesus answered them, "Have you never read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God and taking the consecrated bread, he ate what is lawful only for priests to eat. And he also gave some to his companions." Then Jesus said to them, "The Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." On another Sabbath he went into the synagogue and was teaching, and a man was there whose right hand was shriveled. The Pharisees and the teachers of the law were looking for reasons to accuse Jesus, so they watched him closely to see if he would heal on the Sabbath. But Jesus knew what they were thinking and said to the man with the shriveled hand, "Get up and stand in front of everyone." So he got up and stood there. Then Jesus said to them, "I ask you, which is lawful on the Sabbath, to do good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it?" He looked round at them all and then said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He did so, and his hand was completely restored. But they were furious and began to discuss with one another what they might do to Jesus. One of those days Jesus went out to a mountainside to pray and spent the night praying to God. When morning came, he called his disciples to him, and he chose 12 of them, whom he also designated apostles: Simon, whom he named Peter, his brother Andrew, James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James son of Alphaeus, Simon who was called the Zealot, Judas son of James, and Judas Iscariot, who became a traitor. He went down with them and stood on a level place. A large crowd of his disciples was there, and a great number of people from all over Judea, from Jerusalem and from the coast of Tyre and Sidon, who had come to hear him and to be healed of their diseases. Those troubled by evil spirits were cured, and the people all tried to touch him because power was coming from him and healing them all. Looking at his disciples, he said, and actually, I'm going to stop there because I've gone a little over. I'm going to stop and we're going to come to that tomorrow. So yesterday we looked at how Jesus taught the disciples by demonstrating to them the authority that he has. He showed them that they didn't need to fit into the old rules and regulations created by people, but needed instead to honour God. Here we see him being challenged by his actions, or in his actions. Just as when he was challenged by the devil, Jesus has a scriptural answer. It's okay to do what is seen as work on the Sabbath if it is necessary for life. But then he went on to say, I am the master of the Sabbath. I.e., the Sabbath doesn't rule over me, I rule over the Sabbath. He continues to prove this on another Sabbath. And what's interesting here is previously we've seen the Pharisees come up to him and question him to trap him. And here he knows he's in a situation which they are watching to see how he's going to respond. Is he going to do what they want him to do so they can trap him and blame him? Or is he going to chicken out? And he does do what he was always going to do, but first he asks them a question. And he asks it in such a way as to show that the thing that they want to accuse him of has to be the will of God. They want to trap him into being seen doing something in the temple or in the synagogue, I think it was. Yeah. On the Sabbath. Healing. But his question shows that it's always going to be God's will to heal. God's will to feed his people, to heal his people. It doesn't suddenly stop so that God can be worshipped by perfect Sabbath behaviour. Feeding and healing are an expression of God's love for us. He doesn't stop that on the Sabbath. Again, Jesus challenges their thinking. What is the right thing to do here? He asks it in such a way that just gives them the answer so clearly, but no answer is recorded. He's trapped them. And maybe they're afraid that by giving the obvious answer, they'll show themselves up or disagree with something they've already taught. But there's no answer recorded. Jesus heals the man. There's a couple of thoughts here that occur to me. Why do you think the Pharisees and the teachers are furious? Is it because Jesus has broken their law? They are self-designated law police, if you like. And here he is, going around just happily doing what he wants to do and ignoring all the laws that they are trying to enforce. We can do this with God. We can tell him exactly how and when we want him to act in our lives. And we can be cross if he doesn't do it our way. Or maybe they're cross because he's made them look bad. Shame is a very, very powerful thing. And when we feel that someone has made us look bad to others, we can try to push them away. Maybe they were embarrassed by how he made them look in front of other people. But actually, he didn't make them look anything that they weren't. He merely showed how pedantic and disconnected from God they really were. You know, Christian leaders can be especially at risk of trying to look good to our congregation and then be cross when others challenge our authority or undermine us. Do not touch the Lord's anointed, we might say. I've heard Christian leaders say that. But heaven won't help us if we are presuming upon his anointing. Maybe an anointing that was never given or that has been taken away due to our willful disobedience. Another thought. What would have happened if the man hadn't stretched out his hand, as Jesus had told him to? What if the presence of the Pharisees and teachers made him too nervous to obey Jesus? We can only presume that he wouldn't have been healed. How sad that would have been. And the thought that comes from that comes from what the other people in the chapter know. Because it says that they came from far away so that Jesus might touch them and heal them. So the thought that comes from that is simply this. And I believe this is prophetic for someone, maybe a lot of people hearing this, maybe over years from now, from when I've recorded it. But listen to me. If you want Jesus to heal you, you have to let him touch you. So, some prayer points. Lord, help me not to get tied up with human understanding of the right way to worship you. You came to set captives free. Help me not to become captive to human-made rules and regulations, but to be captivated by you, so that I follow you and your will. Help me to know the Bible really well so that I know what your real heart is, just like Jesus did, so that others' accusations can't hold me back from your plans for me. Lord, help me to get over any sense of self-importance I may have. Help me not to harass others who I think are worshipping you the wrong way, and help me not to expect others to look up to me or to honour me in any way that distracts them from honouring you. Lord, help me to receive everything that you have to offer me without worrying what other people may say. And probably most importantly out of all these prayers, Lord, touch me. Search me, know me, like it says in the psalm. Lord, if you see anything in me that needs healing, please touch it and heal it. Amen. That's it for day 9. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.